Hello, everyone. Welcome back to 23 Days of Hope. My name is Sherry Wary. I am the CEO, founder, and empowerment strategist of Wary Consultations LLC. I'm a speaker, an author, and I specialize in empowering women and youth to rise from their pain in order to live inspired and transformed lives. So, we are now on day number 13 of 23 Days of Hope. My birthday is April 23rd. And so, this whole series of 23 Days of Hope is my way of counting down on my birthday, but also celebrating with you and giving some hope and inspiration along the way. So today I want to talk about hope to forgive. And forgiveness can be a very touchy subject, especially if you have been hurt or taken advantage of in any type of way from someone that you trusted, cared about, or was in any type of relationship with. And this could be a family member, a friend, a colleague. It can be someone that you're involved in a social organization with, just anyone that you've known on any type of level. Is that basically an offense has happened, you are now hurt because boundaries were crossed that should not have been crossed, whether that was mentally, emotionally, financially, socially, or even physically. There was some type of boundary that was crossed that was just not okay. And so now you, as a person who has been the victim or been offended or hurt, you are now in a position where you need to forgive them. And my basis of forgiveness really comes from what the Bible really talks about when it talks about forgiveness. And in the Bible, it tells us that if we do not forgive other people, that now we put ourselves in a position to not be forgiven by God. And that's not the position that you want to be in. Now, let me give a few disclaimers. Forgiving someone in no way justifies what it is that they have done to you. It does not mean that it was right. It does not mean that it was okay. It also does not mean that you even need to reconcile with the person. Reconciliation can be a process of forgiveness, but reconciliation should only happen in addition to forgiveness if the person who has committed the wrong has now demonstrated an acknowledgement of what they've done wrong, a full understanding, and they are now demonstrating changed behavior. You do not want to reconcile with anyone who has demonstrated that they have not changed the behavior that caused the offense in the first place. And so, whether you reconcile or not, you can still forgive. Reconciliation is not a requirement of forgiveness. It's something that can happen as a part of the forgiveness process. But again, that's only when the person who was the offender has full understanding and acknowledgement of what they've done wrong, and they now have demonstrated a changed behavior so that you know that they will not do that same thing again. And so when we talk about forgiveness, forgiveness is for you and for the other person. I know a lot of times we'll talk about how forgiveness is just for you, but the truth of the matter is that when you forgive someone, they also benefit from the forgiveness. Now, I personally believe that there are certain stages of forgiveness when it comes to this whole process of being able to release yourself from the offense. And so being able to even be in a position to accept that the person benefits from your forgiveness, you don't have to do that right away. It's a process and you don't need to rush yourself to get to that point. The first stage for you may be first just releasing yourself from the offense, from the hurt, being chained to that person or to that incident or to that moment in time or that space and time, especially if the issue that caused you to be hurt happened over the course of several days, weeks, months, or even years. And so, first, just getting to the point where, hey, I'm going to forgive this person because I no longer want to be bound to them because of the hurt, because of the offense, or because of the incident or multiple incidents that have happened. So, I'm going to forgive them so I can free myself and to be able to move on with my life in a way that is not bound to someone who really did me wrong and may possibly still mean no good for me. And so, forgiveness starts with being able to understand that as long as you choose to not forgive the person, or at least to start the process, let me say that. As long as you are in a position where you are not ready to even start the process of forgiving and to begin that journey, you are bound to that person and you are walking around with the weight of what has occurred. It's not your fault. Let me say that, as well as that I'm not blaming you and saying that it's your fault that this incident occurred. It is not your problem that this person now has crossed boundaries, unhealthy boundaries, and did what they did. But what I am saying is that while you could not control or stop the person, from doing or saying the things that they did, you have the ability now now to be able to change what your life looks like moving forward, and being able to live in a space of freedom and not being bound to that person or persons who are now still living in an unhealthy state because of the choices, poor choices that they probably continue to make. And so, with forgiveness, is really about, again, freeing yourself from the weight of what happened. Again, it's not justification of what happened, and it's not even excusing them from the consequences of what they have done either. Forgiveness is not about saying that, okay, now this person doesn't need to pay for what they did, because especially if it was a criminal act that they committed, you can forgive someone and still press charges and take them to court and make sure that from the standpoint of the law that they pay the consequences that they need to pay, and you can still forgive them and take legal action as well. So let me also make sure that I put that out there. And so, when it comes to forgiveness and being able to free yourself from the weight and making this choice to now live free from that weight, it allows you to be able to live your life in a position of how you want to live it, not based upon what other people have done and who they think you should be and how they think you should live. It's about you taking back the control. It's about you being in a position to determine how you want to live your life, how you want to experience life, and the things that you would like to do, regardless of what has happened in your past and regardless of the environment that you may have grown up in, and even in spite of the fact of the people who you may have had connections with or partnerships or relationships with, who again took advantage of you in ways that they should not have done. And so, on this journey of forgiveness, I can't tell you how long that's going to take. That's an individualized journey. And I do not recommend you rushing the process of forgiveness, because what happens is that now you put yourself in a position where you may now actually increase the hurt and the pain that you're dealing with because you rushed through this process. And so forgiveness is not about being in denial of what happened to you or the impact that it has had upon you. Part of being able to forgive means being truthful about every aspect of what has occurred and how it happened, and giving yourself the freedom to feel and to validate the emotions and the response that you had in regards to what has occurred. And so, you have the truth and you're truthful with yourself. You allow yourself to go through whatever emotions that you need to go through. You also make sure that you give yourself space to be able to express those emotions in environments that are safe and in ways that do not further jeopardize your well-being, and that you surround yourself with people who are going to support you along that journey. I recommend talking with a licensed therapist, whether they're a Christian or not. For those of you who are Christians who are watching this video, it is not a sin to go to therapy at all. There are some people who were healed immediately by Jesus, and there are other people who were healed as they went. Both of those incidents or types of healings are still considered miracles. So your miracle is not any less effective or less divine because of the fact that you're healed as you go. And so being healed as you go means that you go and you talk to the therapist, that you may even get the support of friends or even new friends, because maybe your current friends are not in a position to be able to support your forgiveness journey and your healing journey because of where they are and their capacity. And that's okay. You just find a new community to be involved with, and you put up different boundaries when it comes to those individuals who are not equipped to walk along with you with this new journey, this emotional wellness journey, this healing process, this forgiving process that you are now deciding to embark upon. And don't allow anyone else to rush you through that process as well. It's going to take time. It may take a few days. It may take a few months. It may take a few years. And, my hope is that however long that it takes, that you just remain committed to the process of freeing yourself from being bound to the incidents or the issues or the hurt or the pain, whatever it is that has occurred to you. And ultimately, you want to make sure, even from a spiritual perspective too, that you are not putting yourself in a position to not experience the forgiveness and the grace and the mercy and love of God because you are now not forgiving other people. Again, it's not a quick fix. It's not going to happen, instantaneously for everyone. For some people, maybe that's their experience, but for the rest of us, there's a process. And the process does not negate the fact that you are not trying to forgive. The process does not mean that you're any less of a Christian or that you're not a good person because of the fact you have a process of forgiveness to go through. The most important thing is really not how long it takes, but it's just about being committed to at least starting the process and going through that process so that you can be free from the pain and the offense and the weight of what has occurred. So that is all that I have for today. I look forward to catching up with you all tomorrow for day number 14 of 23 Days of Hope. Make sure that you stay connected with me. You can join my mailing list, check out my website by going to sherrywary.com. You can also connect with me on social media on Instagram and Twitter, and you can like my Facebook business page at Sherry C. Wary. So take care, have hope to forgive, and I look forward to talking with you guys later. All right, take care. Bye.